What's up YouTube, Evan from Epic Duel Time here doing a commentary for this week's Duel video for you guys. On the left we have Dan, one of our members, and he is piloting a Fire Fist deck. And then on the right we have YCS champion Chris LeBlanc piloting Hieratic rulers. So Chris takes the turn 1, he summons an Esset and then attributes it to summon Sue. The attributed Esset summoned a Labradorite Dragon, and then another Sue, tributing the Sue, summoned a Flamvel Guard. Quite a lot of Sue. And then an Attuned is made with the Labradorite and the Sue, and Attuned will summon Blaster. Blaster and Flamvel Guard will synchro into Stardust Dragon. And 3 set cards will end Chris's turn. A very explosive and quickly played first turn. So now for something a little less wild and a little more linear, the Fire Fist opening of Tenki and then searching the bear. Just because something's linear doesn't always mean it's bad or negative in any way, but it definitely does mean that it's a little, if anything, easier to commentate. So Dan's going to follow up with 2 set cards. He's hesitant to summon a monster, mostly due to the fact that he, 1, doesn't really want to lose it, and 2, he'd rather hold it for a more important use. So Chris is going to activate 2 copies of Reckless Greed. Remember that the waiting for 2 turns off of Reckless Greed doesn't stack. So if you ever draw both Reckless Greeds and you activate them together, you only have to wait 2 turns. So Attune's going to activate his effect again and special summon a Sue from the deck. Sue is going to tribute a Hieratic from the hand and pop the Bottomless Trap Hole. Remember, the Bottomless cannot be used on the summoned Sue because Sue's stats drop to 0 because of Attune's effect. Then the tributed Hieratic from Sue's effect to pop the Bottomless resummons Labradorite. Sue and Labradorite are overlaid into Attune, and then a new Attune, and Attune's effect will activate to summon a dragon. So the newly summoned dragon is going to be a Tidal. So Chris is going to banish 2 dragons from the graveyard to resummon Blaster from the graveyard. He's going to overlay the Blaster and Tidal to make a Draco Sack. Dan is going to respond with Book of Moon to flip Draco Sack face down. Chris struggles a bit with the idea of turning Nixie's monsters materials down, and keep in mind, so Chris hasn't normal summoned yet this turn, so he's going to activate Hieratic Seal of Convocation. He's going to tribute summon over the Draco Sack. He's going to resummon Tidal with his own effect, and from there exchange one of the Attunes into a Gaia Dragon Charger. And all 4 monsters can attack for a game. So a very quickly played out first round. This is the new Hieratic deck, guys. For anyone who hasn't really seen the deck in action, or hasn't seen it do that, Hieratic Dragon Rulers is quite a thing. Understand right now, Chris is not utilizing Hieratic Seal of Ashes. He's not running that card. At some point we'll get a chance to talk to Chris about why he doesn't like it. So for turn 1, Dan set 3 back row and summon Dragon. Chris set 2 back row for his turn. On Dan's turn he attacked with the Dragon, sitting a new back row, and now we're on Chris's turn. So much slower pace for the game too. both players are going to hold off on their big plays. They're going to wait it out. They're going to bait. They're going to use, try to get grind a little card advantage. Remember, now that you're siding, you can't afford to waste card advantage on things that necessarily aren't going to be a big factor, especially when side decking is going to come into play and potentially be a huge hindrance to your own plays. So, attempted summon dragon. The summon was successful, but torrential took out both dragons. Now a Tensu, a bear is summoned, and 17 is dealt, but Dan cannot set a card with Bear's effect because he is Spell and Trap blocked. He is out of spots. So, for Chris's turn, he's going to Hieratic Seal into Tefnuit, try to special summon the Tefnuit. It is Solemn Warning. Then an Esset is summoned. For anyone who knows kind of where this is going, Wing Beat of Giant Dragon is in Chris's hand. He activates it. And then Dan chains Book of Moon to flip the monster face down. Common misconception about this card. Wing Beat does not send the monster, the dragon, back to the hand as cost. It is part of its effect. You have to be able to send it to the hand and be able to blow away all the spells and traps. So, an attempted pop with the gorilla and a chained Book of Moon to flip him face down and prevent him from being able to utilize his effect, and then Baron attacking to end that turn. Now, Chris is going to banish 2 Hieratics for Blaster on his turn. A Debris Dragon summoned. Doesn't utilize its effect. There's no targets, but a synchro can happen for a Star Eater. So, upon entering the battle phase, Fiendish Chain is activated on the Star Eater. This is a legal time where you can Fiendish Chain it. That way, so it hasn't quite attacked yet, and it's an open window for you to be able to stop him. So, on Dan's turn, he's going to overlay the 2 monsters into number 101 Silent Honor's Arc, but an effect failure prevents it from being able to utilize Star Eater as one of its new materials. So he's kind of just going to sit there with this monster. On Chris's turn, he's going to activate Dragon Shrine, sending Flammable Guard, and it looks like Title. I think that was Flammable Guard. Yep, Flammable Guard. So, Dan's going to set 1 card in his turn. Chris is going to normal summon Esset. He's going to use Hieratic Seal of Convocation to get Sue. Use Sue, tribute off the Esset. Esset will activate, bringing back Flammable Guard. A Synchro with Sue for a 7. People know where this is going. Black Rose Dragon. So, Black Rose will attempt to activate its effect, however, Fiendish Chain will keep it from doing so. Then Chris is going to banish 2 Hieratics for a Title. He will turn Star Eater to defense mode and declare an attack with Title. And so at this point, Dan kind of surveys what it is he's got on board, what it is he can work with, and decides that he's going to activate a Mirror Force. Mirror Force will take out the Black Rose and the Title, removing the Fiendish Chain that was equipped to the Black Rose. And now it's Dan's turn. He still has to get through this defense position Star Eater, but so far he's been able to exhaust some of Chris's resources. Chris is a little on the low side for dragons, however he does have 2 Dragon Rulers available. Now, Dan will normal summon Coach Soldier Wolfbark. Wolfbark's effect will get him Tiger King. Tiger King will get Tensu. Tensu will get Bear. And that pretty much brings us to game. And now for game 3. So far we're really able to see kind of the skills of both decks and their strengths. Fire Fist have a great ability to grind long games, and Hieratics are incredibly explosive, but also now with the Dragon Rulers, they have a long-lasting game presence. So Chris used an Upstart Goblin on his turn, setting 3 cards. Dan tried to summon a Fossil Dyna, but it was negated with Solemn Warning, setting 2 cards. Chris upstarts, giving Dan now at 10,000 life points. Dan on his turn will use a Duality. He'll take Fiendish Chain from the Duality. These two really bring my commentating skills into question. They're fast players, but they're really comfortable with how they play. And their pace is actually really awesome especially for tournament play. But so Dan has got another Fossil Dyna. This is a huge issue with the Hieratic deck of not being able to remove that card off the board. So he's been able to sink in 2 attacks in a row, bringing Chris down to 36, while he still stands at 10,000 life points. And on 3 back row, Chris giving him another 1,000 for a 3rd Upstart Goblin. Then a Blind Mystical Space Typhoon to the middle card. It's Dimensional Prison. And now a Book of Moon onto the Fossil Dyna. Now an attempted summon for Tefnuit, responds with Bottomless Trap Hole. Then an Esset. Hieratic Seal of Convocation. Tribute for Sue. Esset activates, summoning Labradorite Dragon. Labradorite and Sue will then create an Attuned. We already know Fiendish Chain was searched, so no shocker that Fiendish Chain is then activated, holding Attuned in place. The only thing Chris can do is Ixie's change into Gaia Dragon, obviously knowing that the face down monster is a Fossil Dyna that he just flipped face down, so he's going to kill his own Gaia Dragon by attacking. The piercing damage from Gaia Dragon will still go through, dealing 1,300 points of damage. Then Chris is going to banish 4 dragons from his graveyard to summon both Redox and Tidal, overlay the 2 dragons into a Draco Sack, summon 2 tokens, and is ending his turn. If we look at Dan's hand, Dan's not done. Dan's got cards. He's got a Tenki, we see a Tensu, we see a Wolfbark, I think we see a Gorilla as well. So we're seeing cards, so guys, Draco Sack's not about to end the game, and certainly these dragons are not looking to see Chris go any lower than that 36. Trust me when I say that 11,000 life points does not always mean you've won, and the opposite, drawing card after card after card doesn't always mean you win either. But definitely Chris has developed a huge advantage in being able to keep all those dragons in play and be able to grind through a lot of really important resources. We saw, if you took a look at Dan's hand, he's not really high on traps right now. He's lost quite a few traps, and he's lost his Dynas. Those Dynas didn't last as long as he needed them to. He needed another good turn and a half of being able to utilize them. So a Tenki and now Tensu. Gorilla is normal summoned, and then a bear is then normal summoned. So instead of Ixieing them, we're going to see 2 attacks. Then he's going to summon Cardinal, detach both materials with Cardinal. And Chris has the Effect Veiler for Cardinal. So, unfortunately, he's going to have a much harder time. He doesn't have the ability to remove that Draco Sack as quickly, and now he can't really blow away the spells and traps. The fire formations, I should say, back to the deck, as well as putting away some of those dragons that might be in the grave. A better play might have been to attempt to pop with the bear first, getting rid of that Tenki. Remember that Cardinal can get Tenki from the graveyard back into the deck, which then could have baited that Veiler a little more efficiently. But Chris is able to attack over it, summoning more tokens. Now, for Dan's turn, he's going to Wolf Bark, bring back the Gorilla. So then he's going to overlay the Wolf Bark and Gorilla for number 101, attack one of the tokens, setting a card and ending. We're really seeing a great highlighting of both of these deck strengths, especially post-Legacy of the Valiant. We are seeing, this is what Fire Fist can do. We're not even seeing Excited Knight being used, mainly because Dan has such very relevant card advantage. But if he was low, he'd be able to utilize Excited Knight, and Chris would have to bait it first. But generally, Chris can get away with holding out on that. So generally, Excited is not that great against Dragon Ruler based decks, Hieratics, whatever it be. Now on his turn, Dan's going to summon a dragon, to which Chris is going to respond with Mystical Space Typhoon on the Tensu to keep Dragon from using its effect and saving himself for the game. So Dragon will take out that last token, and Arc will attack. Now, an Esset is normal summon. Then we have Convocation into Sue. Sue over the Esset. Esset getting back the Fumble Guard. And then a Black Rose Dragon. The set card that Dan has is Fiendish Chain. He's hesitant to use it. There are Dragon Rulers in the graveyard. They'd be able to be used alongside that Black Rose Dragon as materials. So even saving itself, the 101's still going to be, in danger, as well as that Fiendish Chain might actually be worse to activate, because then Chris will have access to easy things like Big Eye. So the players start reviewing graveyards, just trying to figure out exactly where the game stands. Dan's at an impasse at this point. So what he's going to allow it to happen, he's going to not chain that Fiendish Chain. He's going to allow Black Rose's effect to resolve, saving number 101 with his own effect by detaching the Draco Sack. Now, Title's going to special summon itself. And then 2 more monsters banished for Redox. So Tidal and Redox will sink in their attacks, bringing Dan down to 7,000. The 2 dragons are overlaid for a Draco Sack, and then tokens are summoned. Dan sets a back row and ends. For Chris's turn, he'll pop the face down with Draco Sack's effect. And so Chris is going to activate Draco Sack's other effect, summon more tokens. He's going to tribute 2 of the tokens for a tribute summon of Tempest. And attack directly for 2,400, bringing Dan down to 46. It wasn't that long ago that Dan was at 11,000 points of life because of so many upstart goblins, and now his life is down to 46, and it looks like card advantage wise, Chris is going to really be able to control the rest of the game. Dan drew Dark Hole, but that doesn't really help. So he surrenders, knowing that next turn only more attacks will ensue for game. And that's our match. Hope you enjoyed that. Last Duel Videos pack giveaway winner was Leon Hart 22. If you want to have your chance to win a pack of Number Hunters and an Epic Duel Time deck box decal, there are 3 simple things you gotta do. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment with an answer to the question of the week. This week's question is, what is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card art and why? As always, like, comment, subscribe, and keep dueling America.